Welcome to Trend Reddit, where I share interesting, useful, and inspiring content. Let's explore the world together through the videos I create. Don't forget to click the follow button so you don't miss anything new. Thank you for visiting and hope we have great experiences together. Evelyn Johnson stood at the threshold of Pinnacle Enterprises, her weary figure silhouetted against the gleaming glass facade of the corporate world. Clad in a worn-out uniform, she clutched her cleaning supplies, a testament to the years of hard work etched into her calloused hands. The pristine office setting glimmered with polished surfaces and high-end furnishings, a stark contrast to her invisible status among the executives who thrived in this world of luxury and privilege. As she moved about the office, her presence went unnoticed. To the executives, she was little more than a shadow, a faceless worker who kept their environment pristine while they reveled in their positions of power. Yet, Evelyn's silence was not a mark of weakness, it was a shield, a quiet resilience that had built up over years of enduring disdain and condescension. Conflict brewed in the air as Greg Matthews, a senior executive known for his arrogant demeanor, led a group of colleagues in mockery. "Look at her," Greg sneered, gesturing disdainfully while Evelyn meticulously cleaned the boardroom windows. "Doesn't she have a real job to get to?" The laughter that followed was sharp and cutting, echoing off the polished walls, but Evelyn remained unfazed, her focus unwavering as she wiped away streaks of dirt and glass. Behind her, the whispers of other employees filled the space, gossiping about the invisible woman who cleaned up after them. Jessica Reyes, a new hire with a keen sense of justice, couldn't help but observe the mistreatment. It disturbed her deeply, igniting a spark of sympathy within her. She watched Evelyn's unwavering work ethic and sensed the strength hidden beneath her unassuming exterior. As the day wore on, tension began to mount within the office. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation as the time for the annual review meeting approached. The CEO, James Willard, was known for his commanding presence, a man whose mere arrival could shift the dynamics of the room. Executives straightened their ties and adjusted their suits, preparing to impress, unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. When James stepped into the boardroom, the air crackled with respect and authority. The executives held their breath, eager to showcase their accomplishments, but to everyone's shock, James's gaze swept toward Evelyn. "Evelyn Johnson," he said, his voice steady, "I'd like you to join us." Evelyn looked up, a mix of surprise and disbelief washing over her. James smiled warmly at her, defying the corporate culture that had marginalized her for so long. "Evelyn is not just our cleaning staff, she's the majority shareholder of Pinnacle Enterprises." Gasps rippled through the room, and the executives exchanged incredulous looks as the reality of her identity dawned on them. In that moment, the power dynamics shifted irrevocably. Evelyn's heart raced as she straightened her back, channeling the strength she had cultivated over the years. With newfound confidence, she stepped forward, ready to reclaim her narrative. "It's time for a change," she declared, her voice resonating with authority. "The culture here has been toxic, and I will no longer stand by as you treat others with disrespect." Evelyn's eyes locked onto Greg, whose earlier bravado had vanished, replaced by a look of sheer disbelief. "You mocked me, Greg," she continued, her voice steady. "But now, you'll have to face the consequences of your ignorance." As the murmurs filled the air, Evelyn's resolve solidified. The executives who had once dismissed her would now be held accountable for their actions. And as she turned to address the room, the realization settled over her: she was no longer invisible, she was a force to be reckoned with. Executives, led by Greg Matthews, treat Evelyn with disdain, making condescending remarks. Greg mocks Evelyn while she cleans the boardroom windows, showcasing his arrogance. "Look at her," he sneers, a smug grin on his face. "Doesn't she have a real job to get to?" His laughter echoes in the sleek office, where polished surfaces reflect not just light but also the contempt of those in power. If you think the story is good, leave a comment with the number 1, and if not, please subscribe to the channel. If the video is helpful to you, don't forget to hit the like button. Evelyn remained silent, her hands working methodically, revealing her resilience despite the disrespect. Each swipe of her cloth across the glass serves as a reminder of her grit and determination. She's learned to navigate this world of privilege with grace, her silence a testament to her strength. The executives, ensconced in their lofty positions, remain oblivious to the simmering tension in the air. Other employees gossip about Evelyn, further emphasizing her invisibility. "She's just a cleaner," one whispers to another, rolling her eyes. "What does she know about running a business?" Their words are sharp, meant to belittle, yet Evelyn's focus never wavers. Jessica Reyes, a new hire, observes the mistreatment and is disturbed by it. She can't comprehend how the executives, who are supposed to lead with integrity, can belittle someone who plays a crucial role in maintaining their environment. The disdainful remarks and the laughter seem like a cruel game, and Evelyn is the unwilling pawn. As the executives' voices grow louder, Evelyn feels the weight of their condescension pressing down on her. Yet, she continues to clean, her dignity intact, her spirit unbroken. Each day, she endures their mockery and contempt, but inside, she nurtures a quiet determination. This environment, she knows, cannot last forever, and change is on the horizon. The CEO, James Willard, arrives for an important annual review meeting. Tension fills the air as he enters the boardroom, commanding respect. Executives straighten their ties and adjust their suits, eager to impress him with their accomplishments. However, to everyone's surprise, James acknowledges Evelyn and addresses her directly. "Evelyn Johnson," he calls out, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the room. The executives freeze, their eyes widening in disbelief. Evelyn looks up, her heart pounding as she processes the moment. James smiles warmly at her, defying the corporate culture that had marginalized her for so long. "Evelyn is not just our cleaning staff, she's the majority shareholder of Pinnacle Enterprises." Shock and disbelief ripple through the room as the executives realize Evelyn's true identity. Gasps fill the air, and the atmosphere shifts from one of condescension to a mix of awe and fear. Evelyn stands taller, her presence commanding, as the reality of her situation sinks in. In that instant, the power dynamics within the room irrevocably change. Evelyn feels the weight of their gazes, once dismissive, now filled with apprehension. She sees Greg, his smug confidence crumbling as he processes this revelation. The laughter that had once echoed off the polished walls now fades into a heavy silence. Evelyn's heart races, fueled by a surge of empowerment. She takes a deep breath and steps forward, ready to reclaim her narrative. The executives, once so secure in their positions, now find themselves on shaky ground. In this pivotal moment, Evelyn is not just a cleaner, she is a leader, and she is determined to assert her authority. Evelyn stands tall and asserts her authority, transitioning from a cleaning lady to a corporate leader. The room is charged with tension as she gathers her thoughts, ready to speak. "It's time for a change," she declares, her voice steady and clear. She addresses the executives about their disrespectful culture, the condescension they have displayed, and the toxic environment they have fostered. The power dynamics shift as Evelyn's presence becomes commanding and authoritative. She can feel the weight of their previous dismissals in the air, yet she stands firm, her determination radiating throughout the room. "For too long, I have been invisible to you," she continues, her gaze locking onto Greg. "You have treated me as though my worth is measured by my uniform, but I am more than that." The executives squirm in their seats, the facade of confidence they once held beginning to crack. Evelyn's words resonate deeply, cutting through the years of arrogance and entitlement that have pervaded the company. She emphasizes the importance of respect, not just for her but for all employees, regardless of their positions. "Every role in this company is vital," she asserts, her voice rising with conviction. "You must learn to value everyone, from the cleaning staff to the executives." As she speaks, Evelyn can see the realization dawning on them. The executives, once filled with arrogance, now feel the weight of their past actions pressing down on them. They are confronted with the undeniable truth: their treatment of others has consequences, and they must adapt to the new company culture she envisions. In this moment of empowerment, Evelyn feels a sense of liberation. She has reclaimed her narrative and transformed from a figure of invisibility to one of undeniable strength. Greg, who had previously mocked Evelyn, is now visibly shaken. The arrogance that once defined him has evaporated, replaced by disbelief as he processes the reality of her authority. Evelyn's eyes narrow as she confronts him directly, her voice unwavering. "You thought you could belittle me without consequence, Greg," she states, her tone cutting through the tension like a knife. The room is thick with anticipation, every executive hanging on her words. Greg shifts uncomfortably in his seat, his bravado crumbling under the weight of Evelyn's unwavering gaze. "You've shown nothing but ignorance and disrespect, and I will not allow that to continue in my company," she continues, her voice steady. As she speaks, a ripple of murmurs passes through the room. Executives exchange glances, uncertain about how this confrontation will unfold. Evelyn takes a step closer to Greg, her presence commanding, asserting herself in a way they never expected. "Effective immediately, you're fired," she declares, her voice echoing in the silence. The shock in the room is palpable. Gasps ripple through the assembled executives, their disbelief evident as they process what they've just heard. Greg's face pales, and he stammers, struggling to regain his composure. "You can't do this," he protests, a hint of desperation creeping into his voice. "I've been with this company for years." Evelyn holds his gaze, unflinching. "And that should have taught you better. Your time here is over. I will not tolerate your toxic behavior any longer." The murmurs grow louder as the remaining executives grapple with the sudden change in their hierarchy. Greg's downfall is swift and absolute, a stark reminder of the power dynamics that have shifted in this boardroom. Evelyn's determination radiates throughout the space, leaving the executives to reckon with the reality of their actions and the new era that has just begun. Evelyn stands before the remaining executives, the air thick with a mix of tension and uncertainty. She takes a deep breath, her presence commanding attention as she prepares to deliver her final message. "Let this be a wake-up call," she declares, her voice firm and resolute. "The way you have treated your employees will no longer be tolerated. It is time for a cultural transformation within this company." The executives exchange uneasy glances, the weight of her words settling in. Evelyn continues, emphasizing the importance of respect for all employees, regardless of their positions. "You must understand that every role in this company is essential to our success. From the cleaning staff to the executives, each person contributes to the bigger picture. Treat them accordingly." She pauses, allowing her words to sink in. "If we are to thrive as a company, we need to foster an environment of collaboration and respect. You cannot lead effectively if you dismiss those who help make your success possible." Evelyn's gaze sweeps across the room, locking eyes with each executive, her intensity unyielding. "Change starts with you. I expect you to reflect on your actions and attitudes. If you cannot adapt, you will not fit into this new company culture." The executives sit in silence, the gravity of her message resonating deeply. They know that this is a pivotal moment, one that will determine their future within Pinnacle Enterprises. The arrogance that once permeated the room has given way to a sense of accountability. Evelyn steps back, her heart pounding with adrenaline. She knows that she has initiated a crucial turning point, one that will not only redefine the company's culture but also her place within it. The executives are left to grapple with the profound implications of her words, understanding that the days of dismissing their employees are over. The call to action has been issued, and it is now up to them to respond. Evelyn's words linger in the air, a powerful reminder of the change she has instigated. As she surveys the room, she notices Jessica Reyes, the new hire, standing at the back, admiration shining in her eyes. Evelyn feels a surge of pride knowing that her courage has inspired someone who once felt powerless. The transformation happening in the boardroom marks the beginning of a new era, not just for herself but for all employees at Pinnacle Enterprises. "Thank you, James Willard," she says, turning her attention back to the CEO. "Your belief in me has made this possible." James nods appreciatively, acknowledging the strength of her leadership. The other executives, who had once looked down on Evelyn, now face her with a mixture of respect and apprehension. They understand that the days of their arrogance are over. Evelyn's heart swells as she envisions the future she wants to create. "I want us to be a company that values every employee's contribution," she states firmly. "Together, we can build a culture of respect, collaboration, and innovation." As she speaks, the executives begin to absorb the reality of their past mistakes, the weight of their previous actions pressing heavily on their shoulders. The room, once filled with whispers of gossip and disdain, now buzzes with the possibility of transformation. Evelyn watches as some of the executives exchange glances, contemplating their roles in this newfound culture. The realization settles in: Pinnacle Enterprises will forever remember this day, the day they underestimated Evelyn Johnson, the cleaning lady who owned it all. As she walks out of the boardroom, Evelyn feels a sense of liberation. She is no longer invisible, she is a leader who has left an indelible mark on her company. The city of Chicago, once merely a backdrop, now symbolizes opportunities for anyone willing to rise above their circumstances. Evelyn strides out of the boardroom, a wave of empowerment washing over her. The air outside feels fresh and invigorating, a stark contrast to the suffocating atmosphere she had just confronted. She takes a moment to reflect on her journey, from a cleaning staff member overlooked and disrespected to a figure of authority and change. This was her moment of triumph, not just for herself but for all those who had been marginalized and silenced in their roles. As she walks through the bustling halls of Pinnacle Enterprises, Evelyn notices the employees who once avoided her gaze now looking up with newfound respect. Their faces reflect a mix of admiration and hope, or recognition that their voices and contributions matter. She knows that this change in perception is only the beginning. The foundation of a new culture has been laid, one that values every individual's input, regardless of their position. Evelyn's heart swells with pride as she envisions the company moving forward, a place where respect and dignity reign supreme. She has become a beacon of hope, a symbol of what can happen when one person dares to challenge the status quo. The executives, once filled with arrogance, now have a choice: adapt to the new culture or risk being left behind. As she exits the building, the sun shines brightly over the city of Chicago, illuminating her path ahead. The skyline, once a mere backdrop, now represents endless opportunities for growth and success. Evelyn realizes that she has not just changed her own destiny but has also paved the way for others to rise and thrive. Pinnacle Enterprises will forever remember the day they underestimated Evelyn Johnson, the cleaning lady who owned it all. Her legacy of change and empowerment will echo through the halls, inspiring others to embrace their worth and demand the respect they deserve. If you think the story is good, leave a comment with the number 1, and if not, please subscribe to the channel. If the video is helpful to you, don't forget to hit the like button.